Hey, hey, Facebook, just setting up, kind of gonna hang for a sec, see if anybody's free. Probably are still working or in the car leaving work early because it's Friday. Unless you're somewhere else in the world. Definitely have a lot of Facebook friends who are all over the world, so it could be Saturday for you. If you're here, drop in, say, hey, what's up? I'm going to tell you exactly what happens when you decide to do something new in your life, whether that's just start eating a certain way, like cut out sugars, for example, or working out, or if you want to do some deeper work on yourself, work with a particular emotional pattern you have that you want to. Hey, Elisa. Nice to see you. If you want to work with something on the inside, if you want to work with creating work that you love, there's so many things we can work on, right? You can work on your finances, you can work on your relationships, you can look for a partner, you can work on your friendships. Anything you want is possible to work on. The key is when you actually start and you do it for 90 days consistently, there is this magical formula that happens at all these different stages in those 90 days, okay? So the first one shows up at 21 days. 21 days is all about an inner shift. Something shifts. You have this incredible aha moment, and you're like, oh, this is why I'm doing this, or this is why this is so important to me. Everything starts to shift internally as you create those new neural pathways with your new habit, and you have this amazing realization. It motivates you, it pumps you up, and it pushes you to keep going in this new habit or this new thing that you're working on. So that happens. That's the first step that happens in the 90-day transformation cycle. That's 21 days. There is actually one I want to touch on before that. I don't count it as a level of magic happening, but it's kind of like it's like a feeling when you start something and then right around 10 days or 7 days, you don't want to do it anymore. You're like, oh my God, am I really going to do this? I mean, because no matter, even if you started doing your favorite thing in the world, even if you were like, I'm going to go to the movies every day for 90 days, at some point you'd be kind of sick of it, right? And that's kind of challenge, that test where we have to push through and really make it through to continue the radical transformation and change that we want in our life occurs around 4 days to 10 days. So that happens right in the beginning. That weeds out the people who are not serious about that new habit or activity that you're taking on. And then we push through to that first level that I mentioned, 21 days, where you have this amazing realization for your life and for this activity or thing that you're now working on. Then keep going, fast forward. The next level in the 90-day cycle of transformation is the 40-day mark. That 40-day mark is all about a concrete breakthrough. So if 21 days was about this inner realization, you had this aha moment, 40 days is it happens on the outside. People show up somehow, events show up somehow. It's actually starting to tangibly change your life, not just on the inside, but really on the outside. So that's what happens at 40 days. It's pretty miraculous. It's pretty awesome. And I'll give you an example of my own experience with this in just a minute. So if we move through the 40-day mark successfully, we keep going with our project, our new activity, working out or meditating or whatever it is, working with a coach, whatever it is that we've started new, including it could be a new relationship, it could be a new job. You can track literally anything with this process. If you get a new house, if you move to a new place, you can track anything with this process. I track everything. You should see my calendar. I'm like constantly 21 days for this, 40 days for this. Everywhere. I'm tracking everything. It's kind of geeky, but it's amazing. It's an amazing process. You can use it for anything. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. So if we make it through the 40-day mark, then you find yourself at 60 days, which is the next level. And 60 days is the most difficult. It's the most challenging because at 60 days, you're actually confronted with a habit or a pattern that you've had your entire life up till now. and it comes and smacks you in the face, not to make it sound scary or anything, but you got to deal with it. This habit or pattern that's held you back in your whole life shows up at 60 days. And it's actually an incredible opportunity to let go of this, to keep going and to not let it stop you this time. And guess what happens when you don't let it stop you this time? Then it'll never stop you again. Yeah. And this is so important to know this when you're starting something new, because most people don't know this. Most people don't realize this. This is a little secret I'm telling you, but I want you to know. I don't want it to be a secret. I want everyone to know. Whenever you start something new, you're going to reach at 60 days, you're going to reach this wall where people or events or your own inner stuff come up and it shows up, and you're going to be severely challenged. More for some things than others. And so the key is just to keep going. You only have to deal with it for a month. And if you can move through, I'm making it sound awful. It's really not that bad. If you have the awareness of what the heck is going on and you have support, it's not that bad. It becomes fun. It's fun for me. I'm telling you, I do this with everything. It's fun for me. It becomes a challenge. Like, yes, cool. I know my shit. I know this is here. Okay, awesome. And it's exciting to know because I've done it so many times and I know that it's successful. If you just keep going, it's actually exciting because you're like, wow, this thing, yeah, that's true. I've had this thing my whole life. And so you're telling me that if I just keep going, then I won't have to deal with it ever again. Oh my God, that's amazing. And that's what happens. Not to say that it's never there, but it doesn't have power over you anymore. It's not the same. It's like this little like tap on the shoulder. You're like, yeah, that's okay. No thanks. It's like, it's not that it disappears. It's that it has zero power over you. So it's actually a really exciting thing to get to the 60-day mark and to get to release this stuff that's held you back. And then you're absolutely free to move forward and continue with this activity and build your life in any meaningful way that you want. So that's the 60-day mark. Let's see who's here. Hey guys. Hey, say hey, drop me a comment. I'm here. I'm sharing all this stuff with you. I don't want this to just be like me talking at you. I want this to be a conversation, okay? So let me know you're here. If you want me to touch on something, let me know. So I'm talking about the 60-day mark, which is that challenge point. Then from there, all that's left is the 90-day completion, the end of the cycle. And really at that point, it's about witnessing the transformation. It's about closing the door on this cycle that you just finished, and it's about opening a new door. So it's like you step into a whole new world. Let me give you an example. The very first time I ever worked with this structure of working in 90 days was with my teacher in the Philippines. He has a meditation retreat center. It's incredible. It's in the jungle. It's surfing and yoga. There's like butterflies that are like this big, and there's hermit crabs everywhere. It's amazing. It's amazing. I go a couple times a year, and once I went for 90 days, I went for a whole summer. And at that point, I was like just starting out coaching. I was like itching to do more. I felt like stuck. I was still doing massage work for income on the side, and I was like hating it. And I was starting coaching already because I had been working with my teacher and he had showed me all the tools that I use now, but it wasn't moving fast enough. I felt really stuck. So I came to the retreat center. I started off working with him, working more deeply, intensively, studying coaching techniques and meditation tools. Guess what happened at that 21-day mark? That first mark where I have that realization aha moment, it just washed over me. And it was not like I had been so, I want more, I need more, and it hit me inside in a really profound way that I need to give more, right? What the fuck? I need to give more. Stop being so obsessed with your stuff that you're going through. This is about, the work that you do is about giving more. So that was my 21-day realization, the first time I worked with this structure, this transformation cycle. Then I kept going, meditating, doing my stuff in the jungle, surfing, doing yoga, sunrise things, sunrise yoga on the beach. 40 days comes. And he offers me the opportunity to teach a workshop to a bunch of Japanese students that were coming on retreat. And I was like, kind of freaking out, right? It was the first time that I was taking my coaching work into a group workshop setting. So like I mentioned before, the 40-day mark is where that inner realization, that first realization at 21 days that showed up. 40 days, it shows up in a really concrete, tangible way. And that's what I was doing. I was walking my talk. I was giving, I was teaching already that soon into it, okay? Then I kept going, more retreats of people were coming and he was having me teach all the time. And 60 days comes and that means your big pattern that's held you back all your life around this thing, right? We have many patterns, but whatever we're working on at that cycle, whatever's held you back in that particular arena shows up. So for me, at that point, I started to get like, gosh, I would notice that the other women who were there on retreat studying were a little bit like kind of getting a little catty with me or getting a little, I didn't realize it at the time, but they were getting a little envious that I was getting to teach and they weren't teaching. So, you know, that's what was holding me back. I started to like sit in my bed and just kind of like want to hide under the covers and like they had to come get me and like, okay, you need to come do your thing now, like get the heck out of bed. And I realized that, you know, people envying me, especially women, or women not being happy with me or not liking me, right? Women not liking me was a huge thing that was holding me back. I was afraid that they weren't going to like me if I was the leader or if I was telling them, confronting them on their stuff, right? I was afraid they weren't going to like me and that was holding me back. Literally, it was holding me under the covers, hiding. And so I kept going, and I reached the 90-day mark, which is actually coincided perfectly with my stay. And so the door closed on my transformation and bringing out my gifts more. And then the door opened. It says the connection is weak. I'm just going to hold on because I don't want it to get all blurby. I hope you can hear me okay. Can you hear me okay? If you can hear me, give me a like because I just want to check the connection here. Is anybody? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to continue. Hopefully you can hear me. So at that point, I reached my 90 days and I just left, came back to San Francisco. And it means the door closed on that chapter of working on all that stuff. And what door opened was, all right, now you got to work on this stuff. You got to deliver this work into the world. You got to lead a workshop here, right here, in real life, in the Bay Area, not just in the safety of your teacher's retreat center, right? So that's what I did. At that point, I booked my first workshops in San Francisco and LA, and I got to work. So that's a perfect example of how this cycle works in action. I use it with all of my one-on-one clients. I use it in the mastermind, Total Strength, that I'm starting November 29th. We're going to use it. It's a 90-day cycle, same thing. I always work in 90-day cycles because they're magic and they're amazing and they really help you to shed all your shit so you can move forward, and they give you all these realizations and cool power moments where you're like very clear on where to direct your energy and what comes next and what you need. It's very clarifying. It's very directing. It's very, it heightens your focus in every possible way, which heightens your success, right? Because you're very clear, you're very focused. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. If you're interested in working on a 90-day cycle with me, I offer one-on-one coaching to help you create work that you love. Also, I'm offering a Total Strength Mastermind, which I'm super excited about. Starts November 29th. We're going to do 90-day cycles to get you out of survival mode. So survival mode in all the areas, your physical well-being and health, your emotional well-being, your meaning, whether or not you feel like you're connected to a sense of purpose in your life and in your work, your relationships, and your material. So the ones I specialize in are the inner dimensions, your emotional, meaning, and relationships. However, we look at all of them because if you're in survival mode in any of these 5 dimensions, you're not going to be able to move forward. It's going to be impossible because you're going to be doing all the right things. You're going to be reading all the information. You're like, doing it. Why isn't it working? I don't understand. Like, well, I don't get it. Why isn't it working? And I had this experience myself because it's because you're in survival mode. When you're just trying to like tread water and keep your head afloat, you can't do anything else. You can't take your energy and invest it in a big move or something you want to create, because all of your energy is just going to staying afloat. And that's why I specialize in the emotional meaning and relationships, because our culture doesn't really encourage these. There's not as much information on how to get yourself out of survival mode in these, which I have done myself. And so I use the same techniques and tools to help my students to do the same. You can Google how to be healthy and, financial investments. All there's a lot of information about how to build strength in those areas. But even then, it's one thing to have strength, and it's another thing to be in survival mode. And then there's the middle, stability. So we're looking for strength. Strength pushes you forward to do more in your life. It's not just that it's not stopping you. That's stability, right? We don't just want it to not stop you. That's great. That's an awesome step, and we do want that. And that's a necessary step on the way to strength. But we're looking for strength, which is incredible experience. It's like you have all of this extra energy to do exactly what you want to do. You have it. You have the thing you want, and then you have the resources inside yourself to do it. It's an amazing feeling. And that's what I want for you. So come join my mastermind, Total Strength. If you want to work with me, if you prefer one-on-one, I know some people do better with that, which is totally, I get it. You want, to really focus on you. That's awesome. I do this 90-day cycle one-on-one as well. So I don't see any questions. If there's no questions, I'm going to go for now. But if you think of something, please message me. I am so happy to answer your questions. And that's it for today. You can also use this cycle on your own, okay? So I just gave away the structure and my secrets, but I have a lot more secrets, so don't worry about that. You can absolutely do this on your own. It's just when you reach these different levels, sometimes it takes a little bit of peeling away of patterns to see things clearly, especially when you hit that 60-day mark, which is that old habit that keeps you stuck and held back. It's really helpful to have someone who's been there and knows exactly how to move through that sticky scenario. But the most important thing you need to know is keep going, no matter what. Keep going until you reach that 90 days, and then you'll be golden. So that's it, everyone. See you soon.